Hello and welcome.
Hello.
This is why I don't like working with you anymore. Hello and welcome to the Full Tilt Throwback. I'm your host, Big Chris. Joining me today, got my brother, Carl. And we've got the special guest, who is ViDEOCRaiG. You may not know him, but he was part of Full Tilt Wrestling. He first come in to help work with doing the videos.
That's not true. I first came in to throw one clothesline in training.
Oh, well.
And then I was like, fucking hell, this hurts, this.
He come to train anyways, and he didn't want to actually wrestle, but he got involved in other ways. Mm-hmm. So first he was doing like videos, doing a bit of the content.
Yep.
And then he come on and booked a few shows.
Aye.
Ran a few shows, booked some wrestlers. And
Good times, man.
And joined into the crazy world of FTW. So, first off, we'll just talk a little, because you before you even come to FTW, you were a massive wrestling fan.
Yes, always have been.
So let's go back to like when did you first like see wrestling? Like how old were you?
So I can't remember how old I was. I want to say 10, 11. And people were talking about, so what had happened is Sky TV had just recently came out in the UK, and obviously WWF at the time was on Sky, but it wasn't on terrestrial TV. And I think it was like maybe 2 people in my street had satellite dishes. But I didn't know that at the time. I just know that like I had heard like my friends at school talking about like how American wrestling was like the fucking just the dog's bollocks kind of thing. So I was like, right. So I must have said to me mum and dad like something like, oh, I want to see some American wrestling or something. Or asked them about it. And I can remember we had this top loader VHS video recorder that was like fucking bigger than me and he tied together with a fucking remote on a cord. And my dad, he like, so this is before, well, long before on demand wasn't a thing then. What you have to do is you had to like set the video, like time the video to record. And I think it was like maybe ITV, it like something like 4 o'clock in the morning on say a Wednesday or something. There was I think it was just listed as American wrestling, but the show I think was NWA, I think. Is it NW?
Oh, it would have been WCW.
Aye, but what was it before that? Was it?
I was NWA, WCW.
Aye. And so then the next morning, obviously, I gets up to go to school, and I puts the video on, and had to like fast forward it past whatever it was, because like it would start like taping a bit too early. Didn't have to like fast forward through the adverts and that, which took time in them days. And then I remember the first match that came on was just, you know, like how they have just like some dummy and then wrestling the name was Texas Tornado. And I was like, fucking hell, this is mint, this. So then I've gone to school like, oh, I have seen American wrestling. They're like, oh, who's your favourite? I'm like, oh, Texas Tornado. They were like, you've made him up. He's not in WWF. I was like, eh? So my mum and dad had these friends that lived, like family friends that lived in the street. They had a fucking satellite dish, right? The Burridges, shout out to the Burridges, right? Every time. And so I was like, oh, if I give you a videotape, will you tape the wrestling for us? And like, their son Scott was like, probably like best part of 10 years older than me. He was like teenager. He's like, aye, I'll tape it for you. Aye. So you know, I like about 20 minutes later, I'm like, how you got that there, wrestling? And he's like, it's not on all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So about a week later, coming from school, the video was there, and I was like, right. So I put it in, and it must have been like a WrestleMania repeat on Eurosport, and he just like caught the end of it. So puts the video in, hits play, and Hulk Hogan in Ultimate Warrior or in the ring.
Yeah.
Like just about like start fucking grappling and that. And I'm like, didn't know who either of them were. I was like, all right. And then by the end of that match, I was like, fucking hell, this is mint. So then I used to like just hassle them to tape it all the time. I think at one point they pretended they didn't have the Sky Movies packages anymore because I was like,
aye, bloody hell, that's a long time ago. Sky Movies and that.
Aye.
See?
When they had like because like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series would only be on Sky Movies in the UK.
Right.
Like they used to have Tyson fights and that on Sky Movies and that, didn't they?
So obviously you were a big fan of that. You've got like quite a big collection. So did you start collecting from when you were like a kid?
No, I didn't. So I went to go and see WWF when I came to the ice rink in Whitley Bay, 92, 93-ish. And then I kind of grew out of it a bit, but I was still into it maybe like 15, 16, and then I stopped watching it for a long time, actually. And then about 6 years ago, my mate came round, Daz, shout out Daz, and he said, I've got this friend because Daz is allegedly he's a bit of a computer hacker.
Right.
And he was like, I've got these lists of just people's logins for like stuff, so like we can just like log into the subscription services and watch anything. He had like, it had everything from like Spotify, fucking Netflix, Hulu, fucking any, and one of them was a WWE network. And I was like, fuck's that like? He's like, they've got like a pay-per-view kind of 24-hour. I was like, all right, put it on. So he put it on. Me and Darren, like, we grew up in the same street. We used to watch wrestling together when we were kids. Because, right, it's allegedly been said, right, that I only befriended him because he had a satellite dish, but that's just a vicious rumor, right? So I was sitting watching and now he's like, it's got all the old pay-per-views on. I was like, all right, put them on then. So put it on the projector, and the first thing we watched was the Warrior Hogan match that I'd seen. Like, and then we just started watching all Royal Rumbles, and then he's like, have you ever seen Divas? I was like, I don't know what that is, and he showed us Divas, and before I knew where I was, I'd been sitting there for 4 days, and I'd seen every episode of Divas. And then I just started getting back into it, and that's when I started collecting. So when I was a kid, you couldn't get the figures for love nor money. Like, I think I had a... What's he called? Fucking... what's he called? Rick... Is it Rick Rude? Did I make him up?
No, Rick Rude, Ravishing Rick Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude. I had his figure, which I didn't want, but it was the only one I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And like, I used to make him fight Donatello from the Turtles, because that's what I had to work with. You know, my mates had these like Ultimate Warrior ones and Hogan and this and that. And I think that was the first time as a child when I actually considered stealing off people. So I was like, I'm going to see how much they are. So I went online and I saw that you had the term for it is MOC, stands for Mint On Card. Right. Which is like when they're unopened.
I untouched them.
So I was like, let's have a look. Ultimate Warrior 1, that was originally, I think, $2.99 in Woolworths. 110 quid on eBay. I was like, go on then. So I got one, and it came, and I was like, whoa. I was like scared to touch it. Then I thought, might as well get the other Ultimate Warrior one as well, you know what I mean? You could have the pair.
I might as well have both of them.
So then I got another one, that was like 130. And then I used to just bid on random ones on eBay, and I bid on a Rockers one, Mint On Card Rockers set. And I think I won the auction for like 19 quid. I got an email through about a week later. I'd forgotten about it, saying, you've won the auction for £19 and 2 pence or something. I was like, So I got them, got the Bushwhackers, and then I won an auction on eBay for a Mr. Perfect one for like 34 quid. And then I've gone on and like looked at what they were going for, like to just buy outright, and they were worth like 4 or 5 times that at least. Now that Ultimate Warrior one I paid 110 quid for, they go for no less than £500 now. It's only been 6 years. Yeah. So now I've got 30 Mint On Card Hasbros. I've just got Jimmy Superfly Snooker this week. And then I started going to like wrestling conventions, and basically anywhere I could meet a wrestler. Anywhere wrestlers would meet rappers. And the first one I met was Pac Neville in HMV. Mm-hmm. And so the wrestling was on at the arena in the night time. I was like, I'm going to go and meet him. And my pal was like, do we know him? I was like, I'm in a queue now. So I got him to sign. I bought one of his figures from the wrestling shop in town that's not there anymore. I got him to sign that. And then I was just like, right. And then, fast forward a few months, I'm sitting in front of Ryback asking him, it went viral. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I did.
When I asked Ryback in a Q&A session which diva he'd most like to smash and why. Next thing I know, I'm in the Sun newspaper.
What was his
Apparently
answer?
I'm a troll.
What was his answer?
Give a politician answer.
All of them.
No, he's like, you shouldn't miss business with pleasure and bloody, and I was like, aye, Paige.
So, We'll jump a little bit forward. So
Right.
before we talk about your time in FTW, before that you come to FTW, had you seen British wrestling? Like the
Yes, because I used to go to WCPW.
right.
It's at the O2 in Newcastle, and I was like, fucking hell, like. It was unconceivable. I think you said something along the lines of it yourself in your podcast on here. To me, it was unconceivable as a child to say, I want to be a wrestler and think it was possible.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I was like, and then obviously with Pat getting where he got to and knowing people that know him very, very well, good friends of mine know him really well. And I was like, there's bound to be a million of these people. Do you know what I mean? So then I started looking into it, and through WCPW, I started I came across Martin Kirby through that. So then I looked Google other places he'd wrestled, and then saw more, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And I'm like feeling a bit stupid, really, that something's going on that I'm so interested in, so close to, but have no idea it's there.
Yeah, right. So, so your first what culture WCPW? So what was your first show you went to there?
The first show I went to there, I think, was it wasn't actually. Let's think. It wasn't at the O2. It was before that. It was in Newcastle or one of the universities, and they had Bret Hart doing a signing.
Aye.
So it was say 30 quid to meet Bret Hart, or 40 quid with a ticket to the show as well. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'll go to the show as well.
Aye. So, your first taste of FTW, do you remember that?
Yes.
Right? What was that?
So, I've asked my pal, Chris, I was like, went on and how to wrestle? And he's like, oh, there's loads of places, he said, but he mentioned a few other places. He was like, this is where I went. He was like, but I'd avoid them. They're a bunch of dicks. He was like, you should try this place I've heard good things about. And I think he sent us a link to your Facebook page.
Right, my Facebook page.
I don't think it was yours. I think it was the page.
All right, FTW page, right.
And just started talking and asking lots of questions.
So what a little bit of backstory. When Craig got in touch, he messages non-stop for about 3-4 days, just asking us about everything about wrestling. And people who
Well, I was like, I was asking you questions like, oh, what should I wear? And you're just like, oh, just a shorts or tracksuit bottoms or something. So I'm like taking my tassels off and that.
but yeah, it's like
Face paint off. Somebody did know that.
but so when he first got in touch, you were more interested in training than anything else. And then
Oh, actually, me and you, before I came to a training session, me, you and Tina met at the Metro Centre.
no, was that after?
Was it after the first
Yeah,
session?
it was after that.
Okay.
Because you come and then you were like, oh, I'm Craig and all that, and you were like, oh,
I'm like, this is what I do. If I apply what I do to what you do,
he was proper enthusiastic. He was like, oh, I love wrestling and that. And then we get you in the ring, do a warm up, take.
naughty old clothesline.
Did you actually get through the warm up?
I trained for weeks.
Did you?
Yeah. For weeks and weeks and weeks I came to training, and then I started coming to training and not doing the training, but still I came to training for months.
I honestly can't remember. But that's been in the head lots of times.
And, shows and stuff, like the day of a show, I didn't realise, it starts about fucking 10 o'clock in the morning.
So we'll go back to the session that we've done the clotheslines and things like that. Because after you've done that, you were like, no, I don't want to fucking wrestle anymore. So tell us a little bit about the clothesline kid.
So basically, the clothesline kid, he's from Fenham Chip Shop. And he can do some clotheslines. He's got a satellite dish, and he can do clotheslines.
So would after that you were like, well, Chris, I still want to be involved in wrestling and that. I think I can do something. So then we've done a few videos and things like that.
Well, we did a promo video, didn't we? I think it was the first thing we did, and then I got some graphics and stuff done for the intros and outros, and then the next thing I know, I didn't book a show, but I booked a match for a show, and I went to like WCPW and got like Martin Kirby to do a promo for it, and just progress from there. And then my intention was to do a weekly show for YouTube.
Yeah.
But what happened was YouTube at that point, for some reason, I think something to do with WCPW and promotions like it, was WWE put the blocks on YouTube, giving advertising revenue to wrestling companies on there. And then fast forward a year, and now their channel's monetized again, the WWE's, and it's like, had on a minute. So I think that was like a chess move by them. They put pressure on YouTube to stop the competition, basically.
Yeah.
Because, for example, because at the time, well, and still now, all my money comes from online streams and advertisers and stuff like that. So I was like, shit, this is far too much work to get zero from it. And the idea was like to build up and on, because I had a channel at the time called I Like Wrestling. And I was on like, I was building well. I'd do like live streams and that. And I used to get like old house shows from like WWF days, like camcorder videos off YouTube, message the people, get the permission to use the video, rip it down, stabilize it, and put commentary on it and put it back up. And like I was doing well numbers wise. And then like, I think me earnings on that channel went from, they were building like, I think about maybe £150 a week. And then I got the next statement and it was like £6.40 for the month. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I looked into it and I was like, fuck.
The cut all wrestling, So when you didn't just come in and like want to take over, like your other jobs that you have got connections like in the entertainment industry and stuff like that. So just tell us a little bit about like when you booked Silver.
Yes, I brought He Knows She Knows in, who at the time had just been on X Factor like a couple of weeks before that, and they went super viral because Silver proposed to Shauna, his girlfriend, and they're the group He Knows She Knows is them too, and so I booked them to do like a live performance of the new single in the middle of like the interval kind of thing, wasn't it? And then one of the female wrestlers that was on the roster at the time came out and like chinned the pair of them basically. But Silver's somebody who like in those days when I was talking about, getting back into like watching the network on the projector while I was working all day, he was living at mine at the time. So he ended up being like, he said he started trying to watch wrestling about 10 years ago because he's got a little brother. His little brother's a wrestling fanatic. And he's tried to get into it over the years just to have some common ground with his brother, so something to talk about, because like he's obviously, Silver's a fucking gangster rapper and his brother's a wrestling nerd. But again, like it was, I think it was Divas that got him like fully into it. And then he was like, no way, you're doing wrestling stuff. He's like, how involved me? And I was like, to do what? And he's like, I used to box. I was like, allegedly, that's it. And but it was meant. It was a great time.
Well, that video did do some numbers, like, and I was like a good laugh. So we'll go on to like the part now was we're going to go on about the like what you would class as like your best time in FTW.
Right.
So we did do a few shows. A few of them were like pure stressful as fuck and that. And then probably nearly killed the pair of us, but do you have like a time where you're
probably for me, probably a toss up between the Martin Kirby and you match.
Right.
Like that night, because that was the same night as He Knows She Knows and everything. And then like when I got battle rapper called Pamphlet, who I know is a wrestling fanatic, who we're not best friends or anything, but we've worked together here and there in the past, and I always thought he'll be really good at commentating. So like when we sat down and we did the commentary on it afterwards, and I put that whole video together, that like 20-minute sort of video, which was
the teaser,
a promo. the teaser, two matches, and then the He Knows She Knows performance together, I was like, I can really fucking do this. You know what I mean? It's like, but
I've
so
still
probably
got that, like,
I've got it.
even though YouTube deleted it, I've still got that because I like to watch it every now and then and be like, fuck, wow, we had some good stuff then. And
There's nothing to stop me from doing that again, though. It's like my life as well now is I've got a lot less to do these days. Well, I just basically live off royalties now and, and try and do podcasts.
What, the royal family?
Aye.
You live off royalty?
Aye. Clothesline Kid, man. I'm an honorary knight of
The round table.
Bencham or something.
So the next part, all right, this one's like a bit of a what if scenario, right? So you already did have the book, so like, what would you do if you had like the full power in FTW? Who would you book? What kind of matches would you want to see? Would you have a match?
I'd like to have your kids have a Survivor Series match.
Kind of make me kids fight each other. So you make me kids fight.
The winner gets the parents' love. Actually, what's his name? I'm being thick here. What's his name? Because your son had a match, didn't he? At the
Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. That's him. That was fun as well. I enjoyed that. And I'd been out of FTW for a little bit, and I think we came to. Did we lend you sound system or something? Something like that. And I didn't know that. I knew he was involved in the show, but I didn't know that was going to happen. And I was like, "Fucking hell, that was mint. That was really good."
Right. So the last thing we're going to do before we go is like, have you got anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to pick up? Because I know you got some music out and that, and you've been sending us videos all the time. So I'll give you the time.
No. Just subscribe to this podcast channel. Watch the Narr podcast.
Yeah, watch the other podcasts that we do, right?
At ViDEOCRAiG, and my music is
Good.
pardon me, put out under the name Craig DL, but it's Craig with a K, and I'll put the links in the description in about 3 weeks' time whenever I remember.
Right. So thanks for joining us, Craig.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Carl, for not saying anything. I think you said like 2 words or something.
Shh. God, he doesn't shut up him, does he?
But it was good speaking to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Cool. What's your name again?
My name.
Hello, I'm Big Chris.
You're an absolute
Why do you say hello like that?
I don't know.
Like a Polish hello. Hello? Hello?
Hang around with Ragnar.
Hello, I'm Big Chris.
Well, I could say like Yarid, but you know,
Yeah,
gotta be professional.
stick with hello.
You've absolutely fucked this podcast up. Absolute knob end. All right, but anyways, so that's the end of the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll speak to you later. Bye.